We're rolling? Okay, we're rolling. We've probably been live for a couple seconds. Well, I'd like to introduce everybody to Fiji's greatest showman, Mr. Eddie Soro. Thank you for joining, man. I don't know how to introduce you.
I'm not on stage though.
Yeah. Okay, so Eddie, I have a lot to learn about what you do, and like even what you guys are doing up here in Vou at the moment. But I know that you are involved with the Vou Dance Group. Is that what you guys are called?
Yes.
Or
Vou Dance Company.
Vou Dance Company.
Yeah.
I like that because that makes it more official. That's more than just like a crew or like, you're like backyard dancers, right? So I'm going to take people right back to the beginning. So you guys might know more about Eddie than I even know. And so how did you get involved in Vou? Or like, were you the one who started it?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
It was actually my wife.
Okay.
My wife is the one who's got the degree in dance.
Whoa.
So she came back from New Zealand and started up a group here.
Yeah.
And then within the first year, I joined. I joined because
of her.
part of it. That was part of it.
Okay.
But the reason I joined is I was playing rugby for grandma and I busted my knee.
Oh.
Yeah, and then someone said, if you dance, it might help with injury.
You know, there's not to interrupt, but there's a
Yeah.
famous boxer, Vasily Lomachenko. You guys heard of him?
Yes.
Lomachenko? He's like notoriously good, apparently, because his father had him in like Ukrainian dance his whole life. And he was known for sick footwork.
Ukrainian
I don't know,
dance is hardcore, man.
Yeah.
It's hardcore.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. There's probably something that correlates between dance and sport.
Yes.
Yeah,
it
for
is,
sure.
It is.
So did it help you?
It
Or
did.
You just
It
got
did.
addicted to dance?
I did. My first Mecca and I forgot about rugby again
Really?
and all the other stuff. Yeah, the dancing is cool, man.
Whoa.
On stage, when you're on stage, it's that rush.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, from then on, that was about 18 years ago.
Okay, so 18 years ago. So we're talking 2006?
Yes.
Whoa.
I just came out of school. Came out of school in 2005.
How old are you now?
38 in December.
Okay. Looking
Yeah.
fresh. Looking fresh.
Still young.
Yeah.
Feel old. But
And you're married? You're not married to the ex-dance teacher?
Yes.
And you guys...
Ex-trader.
Yeah. Scandal.
Scandalous. Actually, I knew her 5 years before that because her best friend married my brother. So
Okay, so that was the kind of the
yes,
connect there.
so she knew me when I was like 12 years old or something. She's older than me actually. She's 4 years older than me.
Hey, pretty here, baby. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. We got a lot of... Yeah, they're making dinner right now. It's like 2 cradle robbers making dinner. Same
Same
case.
as you, eh?
Yeah.
Say.
Pray for me. The demons in this house.
We were hooked. We were hooked.
I know, man. I know. I saw my wife and I was like, dang, that is a hot older woman. And there's no way that this hot mom. I thought she was a hot mom. I'm like, and
Same time
then-
chained for gun.
yeah, that was it. I don't know. She cast a spell on me or something. Yeah.
Ew, so
Okay, so you went to dance because you got injured in rugby, and then just that was it. Dance.
that was it.
The thing.
And then back then we were just doing like a family. I think it was a family dance group.
Okay.
So there was only about 7 of us. My brother, neighbor, all the gang from my hood. They were in the group for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And then after a while, we realized that
And you guys were called Vou back then.
Vou back then, yeah,
What-
still Vou.
Where did the name come from? Or why did she name it?
We
Vou?
wanted to create something because Vou means new.
Yeah.
So we wanted to create something different,
Oh, cool.
something, and it's also a challenge for us. So we're always trying to create something new all the time,
Yeah.
and not keep because we've seen groups that perform the same thing for about 10 years, 20 years. Like contemporary dance, it's supposed to change over time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it was also like a challenge for us to keep creating something new.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you keep it? How do you guys do new things? Like it.
So
See, the thing is, like with musicians, they come up with songs that you like actually want to hear. You know, like you go to concert, like say, okay, Homecoming was this weekend, right? Perfect example. This last weekend.
Yeah.
And if like Maoli doesn't play Mercy, like you're gonna be ticked off, or like or if these artists don't play the songs, the big songs, you're like, what the heck?
But that's the after effect of it. Like when he first created that song,
Yeah.
that was new. You know?
That's true.
So
That's true.
You needed someone to come to have that creativity to create something new, which will then become something famous, and
Yeah.
they want to hear all the time.
Yeah. So is that similar in dance? Like, do you guys
Similar in
have?
dance too as well. But
Is there meccas and stuff that people want you to do all the time?
Yeah. There's always people who want to see something that we've done like 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
So we kind of do stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But we always try to create something new also as well. So right now we've got like 120 dances that we can do, from traditional Mecca to like Chinese to Indian to everything.
No way.
Yeah. So
Whoa.
we always try to evolve and make new stuff.
Wow, that's really
Yeah.
cool, man. So now you guys got a circus?
Yes. So that's the newest thing.
That's so crazy. This is like when I heard about the Flying Fijian Circus or
Yeah.
Fijian Flying Circus.
Fijian Flying Circus.
Fijian Flying, Flying Fijians would be a bit.
Yeah. So we kind of swapped those two around.
I got
a
it. I
little
like
bit.
it. I like
Keep
it.
it similar but not really similar.
So did you guys do the first one in the Vodafone Arena?
Yeah. No, we did it in Nandi. I
Oh,
think
okay.
was our first one. Nandi.
So I've been So the closest thing that I can relate to, we're kind of skipping ahead here. Like, so forgive me, guys. But like the closest thing I've been to is like a Cirque du Soleil. I feel
Yes.
like it. Just from like seeing what Tui said. Tui went behind the camera here. He went to your guys' show in Sub last week, and he was sending me some pictures. I'm like, oh, that looks similar to the Cirque du Soleil thing that I
Yes.
went to, which is like flying trapeze artists and yeah, just a lot of aerial acrobatics. So is that something that inspired this, or where
Yes,
did the
it
inspiration
was.
for?
It was. We went and watched Cirque du Soleil about 6-7 years ago.
Where did you go? See it? Vegas.
I think it was in New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
They
okay.
were in New Zealand for like a month, but that was the first time for me I had to see them.
So cool.
It's crazy, and it's big scale. It's huge.
It's
There's-
it's nuts. I
there's
saw it
like-
in a big
There's
stadium.
like 6,000 seats there. It's massive, and it's a tent. It's a huge tent, but the level of skill and everything is it's top level.
It's insane.
Yeah, and we've
Okay.
always tried to look up to this, standard of dance and what they wear and stuff like that. So, yeah. And then when we went to the west, we moved to the west from Suva, and we were looking to build a theater there,
Yeah.
but it cost a lot of money to build an actual theater.
Yeah.
So we saw this tent online for sale, secondhand tent in.
That's the one you're
was it
using right now?
Cyprus? Yes.
No way.
And it was secondhand. It came with the seats and lights and sound and the fencing and everything.
What?
The whole shebang.
Oh, so it's
came
like
together.
a full circus setup.
Full circus.
Whoa.
And it was 1/10 the price of building an actual theater.
Holy smokes. Where was it
Yeah.
for sale?
It was for sale in Cyprus,
Like Cyprus, like
Greek, in Greece.
like Cyprus, like Middle East
Yeah.
area. Yeah.
No, is it Cyprus?
Cyprus, Turkey, like up there.
Yes,
like
yes,
Greece, I guess.
yes,
like you
yes.
said. What?
Europe side. Yeah. So
How did
Chico,
you-
my wife, we went up and went and see the tent, and like, okay, cool, let's do it. So we bought it down there. We were doing shows in there, not circus shows, but just normal,
Dance.
normal shows.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh wow. So you've been using it for quite a while then.
yeah, for
'Cause
about 5 years.
I saw it set up in Savu like last week, and I was like,
Mm.
oh, that's like a real full-on
Yeah,
circus tent.
It's a real circus tent.
Oh.
It's a real.
So inside
cool.
there's seating and everything.
Rounded seat. It's like an actual circus.
Yeah.
And there's stage in the middle.
Oh.
Yeah, light, sound, everything is there.
Unreal. So, how did you teach people who are like that's a totally different thing? Like people
Totally
dancing to people like flying on like trapezes or something. I don't know.
We had no plans to do a circus at all.
So how did it?
And then
come
this
about?
this Cuban family got stuck here. I know, out of the
Crazy
blue,
story.
random. They just got stuck here.
Yeah.
And then somehow they knew Chico. They're like, yeah, we here from Samoa. They came from Samoa.
Oh.
So and they was like, okay, come and stay with us for like a few weeks. And then they explained to us that they were actually trainers, so they know everything about the circus,
What?
from magic to stills to acrobats. They can do everything.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That is such a dying art now.
I know.
Like I mean, who did?
Yeah.
Like I mean,
but in Cuba, it's like a cultural thing there. So
Oh.
everyone does it.
oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I've seen
Yes.
those guys walking around like with the long, super long pants, and they have like the stilts
Yeah.
under the, like they're giant men,
Yes.
yeah, and they like walk around in the
Yeah.
streets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And these guys can do everything, man. And they actually saw our tent, and then it's like, you have a circus tent. Should we just do one? Say okay. So
When
they
was
trained
this?
for like
So how long ago was this? So we're
that was about a year ago.
so we're September 2024 right now. So like a year ago.
So
from,
it was about, was it April last year that they actually came here, that they arrived.
whoa.
Yeah. And then we said, okay, we'll get about 20 of our group to just train. So then they never danced for like a year. They just trained for a whole year, a solid year.
Whoa.
Yeah. Day and night, just kept training.
What?
And they all learned a skill each. And
Wow.
then within a year, so we opened up in April this year was our first show.
April.
April
Yeah,
was
yeah,
when we
yeah.
first was when we moved
That's
down
right. It's
to
been
the,
that long already,
yeah.
huh? So what
So-
made you guys like bring it up to the north now?
We really, because it's the first time that we've ever done a circus. We've ever had a circus here that was made here.
Yeah.
So we wanted it to tour around so everyone can actually see it
Yeah.
before we go anywhere else and do anything else.
Is that the goal?
That was the goal.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we want to maybe next year to travel overseas somewhere and try and
Oh.
yeah.
You
do
were
a
saying the
tour.
coolest thing about it was like the story, eh? That like is worked into like the whole program. Yeah. What about the story? What do you mean like when you were talking about the story?
No, I really didn't expect that it was like a whole
Storyline.
story. 'Cause I just
Yes.
thought, oh, this is just tricks jumping around.
Yeah,
doing
because
the
most old like a normal circus would just have like tricks after tricks.
Yeah, yeah.
But with Cirque du Soleil, there's always like a storyline.
yeah, there
They always have like a little storyline, something that link all the tricks. So we kind of try to follow that too as well. But I always have a bit more story to it too as well.
So
and-
is the story to do with like a Fijian culture, or what is this? What did you
It's a-
guys pick?
Yeah, so
Or
we have like the
Pacific?
valley. You know the valley,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
little dwarves and all. We got a little valley. Who's the clown? So so the story is this girl lost. She caught one valley, and the other one stole her shoes. So she's trying to find it. So she helped one of the valley will take her along the trip to try and find her shoe. So they'll go to all the tricks throughout the circus until they find
do
the
you like
shoe.
it or what?
And then she will have the power. The valley will give her power at the end of it, which is the story. Like local stories, is they'll give you some power. Like the Mbanga gang when they go out, that's how they gain their power was from the valley.
That's where they get their working power.
So it's
Oh.
so it's like a
Veli, like
traditional
how do you
story,
spell it?
but with a
V-E-L-I?
modern mix.
Oh.
Like the dogs.
Yeah.
But not like the dogs here, small.
And
Oh, sure.
they're like really cheeky and mischievous kind of
Yeah.
things,
They're like the
and they have power.
yeah powers and opposite in what we if we go on a big ship.
Yeah.
For them it's too small. The big ship you have to give them a leaf or something to.
Yeah,
The leaf is bigger than the big ship.
they're really wacky and weird
Oh,
kind of.
yeah,
So the
yeah, yeah.
circus too is a bit like that. It's really wacky and weird.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. So you were the one who wrote the story or came up with the story?
My wife and I did, but
Yeah.
we have a guy that creates all the actual storyline and the movements and stuff like that. and
Okay.
The dances.
Whoa,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So we have like a whole team to create the whole thing.
And then how many people do you bring on the circus tour?
Right now, there's 34 of them, including like a chef that makes all their food and everything, and security guards
What?
look after the tent. Yeah. So the guys who do the show, they just do the show. They don't think about food or anything. We do everything for them: breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
so
you
they
need
just
them focused
focused,
on what
yeah.
they're doing, right?
Because some of the stuff they do is actually quite death defying stuff.
Oh,
so
I
they have to
bet.
be like
Have you
focused.
had any accidents or anything?
No,
No?
no big ones.
Nothing-
no, nothing.
I mean,
nothing
it
too-
seems like something
nothing
that's
too
inevitable.
major.
Eventually, well, I mean, God forbid, but I mean, like, it's like playing rugby, right? It's like,
Yeah.
God forbid something happens to somebody,
Yeah.
but like when you play,
Every now and then there's
Dangerous.
always something that happens. Something small, but hopefully nothing too
hopefully
big.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
So how many shows have you guys done now? Roughly,
Ooh.
do you think?
Roughly, we've done about 60 shows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you guys are getting like, you guys are starting to figure out like what to
Yes.
do.
Yeah. Like in Suva, we did 2 weeks straight and we did 2 shows a day complete. So they did in Suva alone. They did about 40 shows, I think,
Oh my
every
goodness.
single day. So those guys were tired like
Yeah, I
crazy.
bet.
Yeah, in Dumbula.
Yeah, polo.
Bulunaka.
Bulnavelli.
Bulnavelli. Yeah.
So, all right. So we'll take a step back now. Now that we've like fast forwarded like way past, way to like right now from like back then.
Almost getting to the tip.
The grog, nice, sweet, becoming sweeter and sweeter now. Man. Sweeter, but I'm going a bit spin to overlay.
So after you, after you met your wife, you start dancing, and then has Vo always been? Because I, spent time here when in my early teens. Didn't spend all my life growing up here, but like has Vo always been like, in my mind, Vo is like Fiji's most famous dance group, and like kind of represents. I know there's a couple dance groups in Fiji, but like, were you guys like the OG kind of ones that would be like, now you guys are going out and like representing like Fiji Airways and doing all this kind of stuff, right? With like different shows.
Yeah. But my wife was actually, when she was younger, she was in a group at the USP,
Okay.
Oceania.
Okay.
And that was, I think that's where the first contemporary dance began.
Oh.
Yeah, so from there it kind of peeled off into different arms of dance.
So we should have just had her in on this. But how did she get, like, so was she teaching her, like, she got a degree in dance, not in
Yeah.
Fiji, obviously.
Not in, no.
But did she come back and teach that in Fiji?
Yes. So she was born and bred here.
Yeah.
And she was taught by Mrs. Liu in her school, who taught her how to like hula and all the all the normal stuff
Yeah.
they do here. And then she just fell in love with dance.
That's cool.
Yeah, she actually went to the Pacific Arts Festival when she was 9 years old, I think. And she saw this. She was telling me this story, and she saw this old. She was about 95 years old. This woman from Tahiti or somewhere who danced on stage alone, solo. And that's the time when she just saw the woman, and she was like, "This is so
this
much
is it.
energy and mana inside this woman that she just fell in love with dance." And then from then, she just wanted to dance on stage and share the mana of dance.
Yeah.
So that's why Vo, our motto is energy, spirit, and mana. Energy, spirit, mana. So we're trying to share the energy of local Fijian dance
Okay.
to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's where it first began, through my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like we saw them up here last year, or like a crew of yours
Yes.
for the Friendly North Festival, right? So where does how do you turn like a dance group, like now you guys are called like the Vou Dance Company?
Yeah.
How do you run it as a company? Like this, what you do full time?
Yes, full time. So when we first began, like I said, we were like a family group. So
Yeah.
it was just a part time thing. Eh?
Yeah,
Everyone had jobs. They were working in
like a casual
offices,
after
yeah.
hours.
We
Like,
would meet up at like 5:30 and train for like an hour, and then but then everyone would leave because they wasn't really into it,
yeah.
and there wasn't enough money involved in it.
Yeah, of course.
So there was 1 year that we sat down and we're like, okay, we need to find a way so we can pay everybody well,
Wow.
so they can survive and do this as their job.
Yeah.
Because there's some of them who said that they would love to just dance
But
if it could pay their bills.
Right.
So we made our life mission was to make that happen.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So there was 1 year that I was like, okay, I better put my degree into use because I have a degree in finance. So
So random.
so
Well, I guess that works
yeah.
for business, though. That works for business.
I was in the bank
So
for a year.
I was gonna ask.
Hated it. Counting money for a year. I just felt like I wanted to climb on top of the desk and do flips and so. Anyway, I mixed the two together, so we really knuckled down on how we can make this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you like the business side of
yeah. For the first few years, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Chico came on board too and was like, okay, we need to figure out all our finances and everything. And,
Yeah.
and this has to be able to be viable to keep going,
Yeah. Otherwise, you won't be
Yeah.
able to.
Otherwise, we'll just be at the same place doing the same thing and we can't grow.
Seems like you guys kind of figured it out, though.
Yeah.
Like, is there?
It's been a long journey.
Yeah, yeah.
We kind of didn't make any money for the first 10 years.
So how did you guys make it by? Like, did you guys still have side
we-
gigs going on? And
Yeah,
stuff?
like all the money we made would go back into it.
Yeah.
So we just keep growing. So we didn't have money to spend and for ourselves.
Yeah.
Chico and I went paying ourselves for a few years.
Man.
Yeah. And then one year we said, okay, sit down, knuckle down, make it work. And then we had a 5-year plan.
Yeah. Which
So
was
it's-
when?
That was back in 2013 or 14, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old are your sons now?
They're
11?
11 and 9.
11 and 9. Wow.
So I think they were oldest one was just born
Yeah.
at that time. Yeah. So we're like, okay, we need
Stress.
to knuckle down. Yeah.
So have you guys ever given yourselves like okay, if we don't make it by this date, like we got to give it up?
No.
Like, have you guys ever done that?
No.
Because that's what I did for Stephanie when she started her cleaning business.
Yeah.
Because I used to be a mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
and she was a waitress when we first got married,
Mm-hmm.
and then she had some like, how did it work? She ended up working for a cleaning company. I think because her waitressing job was always in the evenings, and so she worked for a cleaning company. She's like, I can do this for myself, and so. She actually got fired. For those of you who didn't know, Stephanie actually got fired. Don't tell her she's not here right now, but now you know Stephanie got fired from a job. And yeah, nobody's listening. And then she was like, okay, I'm gonna start my own cleaning company. I was like, okay, you got 1 year to like get this profitable, and if you don't make it in a year, then we're not doing it. And so that was kind of like our thing. Like, okay, there's a timeline that we can like lose money for, but you guys didn't have that.
No.
You guys just
We just wanted to do it. Never mind it'll fail or not. We just kept going.
no plan B.
No plan B.
Yeah,
Just that was our number one goal, was to just do that.
yeah. So like, how?
And there was no timeline to it. We didn't know how far we'd go or how short it'll take time to reach there. We just kept chunking away at it and see how far we go.
Were your parents supportive?
Her parents is very supportive.
Yeah.
Mine at first wasn't really
Yeah.
supportive because I was supposed to be in the bank.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be the bank boy.
Yeah, Fijian. Yeah.
When I told my mom, I was like, she's like, "What are you doing? You're crazy."
You're gonna go. You're gonna like give
But
up
now
your
she's
degree.
like, "Wow, very well done."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what? How do you? Like, because there's people out there who are gonna listen to this, who are gonna be going through, wanting to do something that their parents are not going to be, happy with them doing, but they just know it's like something I got to do it, and I've felt some of that in my life before, and it's hard, and I know that there's some people who are doing stuff like their parents are, and I'm not in the position of like my parents hate what I'm doing, but like there's some people who are just like, I can't, I have to like run away basically. My parents won't even talk to me. Like, how did you push through that?
Yeah.
You just knew it was something.
Especially with dance too, because no one really knew dance would go anywhere.
Well, yeah, that's yeah,
Because most groups in the West, there's just like family groups, small groups,
yeah,
and they wouldn't, and they kept it the same size for years and years, and they wouldn't grow, and so everyone had the perception of dance that it'll never go anywhere.
Huh.
So for us, we had to prove that we can make like a job out of it, something you can actually survive well.
yeah,
Not just survive, but survive well on it.
yeah.
So these years we've been trying to prove that. So we've done that. And now we pay our stuff really well.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so
minimum wage
rewarding.
for us is about $8 an hour,
Yeah,
and we do everything. So they get F&PF cut, and it's like a real job.
yeah,
Yeah. So I think in the past 5 years we've proven that.
yeah,
Yeah. But it's been it's been a hard road. And we've had guys who've come who had the same thing too, like the moms and dads don't want to support them because it's dance.
I'm sure that's like a lot of people that come through.
And they're like, you have to go and work in a shop somewhere or like in a bank or
Go get your education.
doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
tough.
it's been a hard journey. And it's still going. We're still trying to change everyone's mindsets about arts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's
Hopefully the circus can prove to everyone too, because the circus is all local gang there, and they're doing all these big flips and stuff. So hopefully it's a visual to them to see them that they can do something that people overseas are doing.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's
I
a
see what you're saying.
visual
Yeah.
for them to actually change their mindset about the arts.
Yeah. I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
So I think that was one driving thing too for us to come down and travel everywhere and show everybody.
Has it been paid off to come to Vanua?
Sav has been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crowds have been crazy there, man.
That's what T said. It was
Yeah.
like really like
I'll-
sold out show.
Our seats, we can fit about 600 in there.
What?
Yeah, 600 in the tent in one show. I
Wow.
think, yeah, our lowest number in Sav was about 370, I think.
What?
Yeah,
Whoa.
that was the very first night, which was like on a Monday or something.
Yeah, which is like the worst night for
Yeah,
anybody
and
wanting
then,
to go
like-
and do something,
And
right?
then like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it was jam-packed, sold out.
Whoa.
600 seats each night.
Really?
It's crazy. We were so surprised. We were like, what? So,
Yeah. There you
it's
go,
been
babe.
good.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we just making enough just to cover all our costs.
Well, yeah, because it's so expensive
Pay
to bring
everyone,
everybody up there.
yeah, for the container to go on the boat and stuff. Because our main goal was just to take the circus to every single town that we can, just to show everybody that we do have a circus here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our main goal.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then so next week from the 21st, or sorry, from the 27th to the 5th of October,
Yeah.
it's going to be in Lambasa. And then you're doing 2 shows a day on what days?
Weekends on Saturday and Sundays.
Saturday and Sunday, right?
Yeah.
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 So I think Lambasa, people are excited.
Everyone's saying
yeah.
Lambasa is gonna be good because everyone there loves a good show.
Yeah, and there's nothing for people to do in
Yeah.
northern Fiji. Like, that's one thing where I feel like a lot of people mess up with, like we were talking about before we started recording, with their marketing and stuff, is they skip over the fact that, like, there's local people who are willing to spend money on entertainment.
Yeah.
And there's people who spend a lot of money going overseas, going to Sabsavu and renting really expensive Airbnbs. So I think you guys are going to do well in Labasa.
Man.
Yeah.
Like Savu, about 99% of them were local gang.
Is that, yeah.
And it was
Oh,
packed,
so you
man.
did have some
Yeah, it
tourists
was
probably
packed.
show up, right?
They have a few,
Yeah,
but not as much. Like
Yeah.
that place, it was locals galore,
That's
man.
awesome.
They loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It was
sick.
awesome.
Yeah, Lambasa will be great for you guys. So you guys
Can't
were in Sabsavu for 1 week
1 week.
and then 2 weeks in Lambasa.
2 weeks.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's it been like? Your boys are 11 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
Mine are 6 and 8. So what's it been like being a dad, trying to run a business, trying to like
Ooh.
put food on the table, you know?
That's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Because the company takes up quite a bit of our time, eh?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because most of our shows is during the weekends as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we it's very hard for us to spend some time with the boys. So we every now and then we need to just step away from the whole of the Vou and everything and just spend some time with the kids and
Yeah. Sure.
yeah. But it's been a challenge with 2 boys,
Yeah.
as you know,
Yeah.
energy galore.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But it's been awesome. I've
You guys moved to Nandi from Suva, right?
from Suva, yeah,
A few years ago?
about 7 years ago.
Okay, so
7
quite a
years
while ago.
Yeah. So Vou was based in Suva, and then it moved to the west.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because of your guys' move?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we wanted to. I think we would have done better in the western side. There's more work there.
Okay.
There's more shows. And Suva's not as many shows there.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Mm.
So when like you're raising the boys in the city?
In the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've tried to take them back. So we went back last year to my village.
In Kandavu?
Yeah.
Oh.
First time to go back. Took off away with my dad. And we were there
First
for
time for you to go back?
No, I've been back.
oh, yeah.
I've been back about 5 or 6 times.
Okay. First time
Um,
to take the kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Taking the kids.
Yeah.
We were there for 2 weeks, and on the last day we said, "You wanna go back again?" It's like, no, we don't wanna go back. We wanna stay here.
They loved it, eh?
Loved it, man. Because there's we live outside of the village area.
Yep,
Little,
that's the best.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a beautiful spot on the. There's a small bay, and
No. way.
everything just grows wild there. You know, you put anything in the ground, it grows. And there's a spring. You have to stroll up to the thing to bring up water, and the boys just love it. Love it, man.
I know
Yeah,
they're like
it's-
running around here with our kids, like
yeah,
nothing.
I'm not trying to take the boys back nearly every break, because my dad's still here and
Where does your dad live?
he's in Suva.
Okay.
He's an ex-naval officer,
Okay.
Navy. He moved over when he was about 17, moved to Suva.
Yeah.
So he was born and bred in the village, and so he likes that kind of lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Is he a strict man?
oh, very strict.
Growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to like clean our shoes, put in polish,
Really?
and everything. Yeah.
And we're
Wake up at 5:30 in the morning,
no. Yeah.
make our own beds and stuff, everything.
My dad has stories like my grandfather. His dad was a soldier, and so like that era of men were already strict, and then you add like military or some sort of service like that, Navy, into the mix, and it's like another level
Yeah.
of strictness, right? Because of just like what they got to do with the shoes or their military uniform, waking up
Yeah.
early.
And I think because there was 6 of us, there's 5 boys and 1 girl.
Oh, really? I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you how many siblings
So
you have. Where do you land in the mix?
I'm second last down the line.
Okay.
So, and then after me, there's a younger brother.
Okay.
The girl's in the middle.
Yeah.
But because there's so many of us too, I think they had to be quite strict.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
You know?
definitely, definitely.
If not, we'll be up and down the place. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And so, I feel sorry for your sister.
She's actually quite tough.
Yeah, I bet she is. Yeah, no doubt. She didn't have
She
a
gave me
choice.
my first black eye.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they all in Fiji still? they-
No, only my oldest brother is still here. He's back in the village as well. He's
Oh, really?
farming down that side.
Nice.
Yeah. It's just him and me here.
Whoa.
And my dad. Everyone else is my sisters in England, brothers in New Zealand, 2 of them there. Oldest one passed away about a few years ago. Oldest one, really old.
Whoa. Well, he was young.
He was 37. He had epilepsy.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry to hear that, man.
no worries.
Hmm.
They were saying that he hadn't last like 5 years, which was 24 years old. He was supposed to pass, but he lasted another 10 years.
Whoa.
It's pretty good.
That's like seizures and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's so rough.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's quite full on. Yeah.
man.
Uh,
There's a lot of, I mean, not to be depressing or whatever, but I don't know. There just seems to be. There was a death in a village just up the road from us in Narilangi. There's a death today in Korvuli, which is on this side. The Maramani Vusa who passed away like 2 weeks ago, the husband died. Just today. And then, like one of my cousins passed away on Sunday. So her funeral's tomorrow. It's just like, I don't know, Sundays just feels like you're surrounded by death, you know, in Fiji. I don't know what it is. And it also seems like when it comes in waves, like
Yeah.
it doesn't just happen
There's
at,
always a few at a time.
there's always a few at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, you guys drove your vehicle up here?
Yes.
Crossed on the boat? You guys didn't fly up.
No, we didn't fly.
So
up.
where's the rest of the crew?
They're in Lambasa right now.
Okay.
Setting up tent, so they're almost done now. I think they're almost finished.
Where are you guys setting up your tent?
Subril Park.
Okay.
On the not the main ground,
Just
but
on the
one beside it.
outside of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Park B they call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're on Park B. Yeah.
That's going to be exciting.
Oh, it's exciting, man. And then I saw it up already. Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Have you seen it? You saw it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw the thing up. Oof. And they've just put in the seats and decor. It's almost done.
So is that Cuban family still with you guys?
Yes.
Oh,
They do not want to leave. They love it here
Really?
in Fiji. Yeah.
so how many of them is there?
There's a husband and wife, and the wife's sister,
Yeah.
and their kids. Two girls who are in the show as well. The 2 girls do a little act on the
Really?
on the seals. Yeah. These guys
You
are
saw
awesome,
it?
man.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
love
I think the mom is the one who's selling the T-shirt. Right?
Yes, that's the
What's her
one.
name again?
Yodi.
Yodi, yeah?
Yeah, that's a short form. It's quite a long name. I don't know the name. Yeah, Yadanka is Cuban. Sorry if I can pronounce it.
Because I talked to her and it's like, whoa, I'm picking up an accent. You're not.
Huh.
Well, you're not. Obviously, you're not from here.
Yeah.
I'm from Cuba. It's like, oi,
Yeah.
wondering
How is this Cuban lady? Yeah, now it makes sense.
It was crazy. They just stumbled upon. They came out of nowhere. There was no plans for it. They just arrived here and they were stuck here. They didn't want to go back.
What
So like,
what
yeah, sure.
brought them here originally?
So they were part of the Samoan circus. So there is a circus in Samoa.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen it?
Yeah, that circus came here about 20 years ago. That's the last circus that took ever
Whoa.
tour. And it came throughout the whole place too. Came to Savu, Lambasa.
Oh,
Yeah. But it's never traveled again after that.
yeah.
So there is a circus that's still going now. Run by one of our friends. He's a gypsy. Pat Samoan.
Gypsy.
Yeah.
Like gypsy, like French gypsy?
Yeah.
What?
But he's Pat Samoan. He's yeah.
Yeah, that's gotta be a crazy combination,
It's
dude.
and
Yeah.
his bald has got all this
Of course he's
tattoos,
bald,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he speaks like 6 different languages. He speaks French, Spanish, and it's crazy, man. He's a real like circus gypsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the real showman.
Yeah. So these guys were in Samoa during COVID, so they were stuck there.
Yeah.
And then work went down. They had nothing else to do. They ran out of cash.
Oh, okay.
So after a while, they said, "Okay, we better take off." So they came back, but they didn't want to go back to
Cuba.
Cuba because
Yeah.
it's in a bad state.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
not great
they
right now.
stopped over here and it's like, can we just stay here in Fiji? It looks nice.
And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
let's do something.
So the someone guy, Bruno, called Chico up and is like, hey, there's some guys there. Can you just look after them for a few days before they move on to the next place? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. And then they said they wanted to stay. And
Those are gotta be the only Cubans in Fiji. I mean,
there's a few more, but
is
I
there?
think they're like there's a few in Suva.
Okay. Okay.
They have a embassy in Suva. or
Okay.
something?
Okay.
Like
Whoa,
2
I'm
or
wrong
3 of
then.
them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's a very small number of
Okay.
Cubans.
Yeah, because I've never met a Cuban in Fiji myself. Yeah. Yeah.
You will soon when you come to the circus.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, sweet. Yeah, I think we're gonna come on next Friday, which is
No worries.
opening night, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This week is opening night. 21st.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. 21st opening night. Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna come on the 27th night.
So
Sorry.
Saturday,
Sorry.
I think it's
27th.
Saturday this weekend. This weekend
Yeah.
is the first show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you guys have people you stay up with here? Or you guys put everybody up in?
They stayed in one of the halls. Every town
Yeah.
they stay in the village hall.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they go in Sevu and all, and then they go stay in the village, and we pay for the hall. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that way you're actually helping out the community
yeah.
too as you go along.
Because there's like 32 of them, 34 of them, and they all just back in the halls.
Yeah.
But it's a nice experience, and some of them have never traveled outside of like Nandi area.
Really? Eh?
Yeah.
So what do they
So-
think
so
about One
surprised.
Level?
Oh, I love it, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe some of them will
Yeah.
get.
No, but true. Like the mainland, like that side is a bit. It's a
It's
bit.
different, eh?
Yeah, it's yeah.
It's funny because people
It's
usually
quite
think
cool.
we're from Suva or we live in Pacific Harbor or something, and then they're like, "Wow," or when they know we're in Vanuatu, they think that we live in Sosawa just because of my
Yeah.
skin color.
I get that all the time.
Yeah, yeah, I bet, and but no, we live in Sanganga of all places, and whenever I'm in Suva, like I love everybody and like super appreciate all the support.
Mm.
But I'm like, man, I cannot wait to get back here. And it's not because here is awesome. I think it's like, it's just so quiet. And like there's this big field for my kids to run around in. And like we won't be able to stay here forever because, business will, I'm sure, like, take you guys to Nandi. Like we'll take us to other places. But I just I'm trying to enjoy this as much as I
Yeah.
can right now.
This is a nice spot, man. I love it.
Yeah.
On this side.
Like this breeze right now.
Yeah.
It's so
I was
relaxing.
telling Chico, maybe every 2 months we can just run away from work and then we just come and relax down to
Yeah.
this side because it's so nice and relaxing on the other side, man.
Yeah, and when you're up
Peace
here,
and
like you
quiet.
probably won't get recognized much. Like people, like when we go to Suva, like lots of people will, know who we are and stuff like that. But like in this place, like people just know me as their nephew and grandson, or
But
like
you guys are famous, man.
Yeah, right.
Everyone calls me the Waka guy. He's like, you Waka family. No.
no, not me.
This fella's taller than me. He's much taller. I'm short.
Oh, that's funny. Oh gosh. So while you've been like raising your kids, I think that's one of the things that I always like to talk about because that's one of the things that's most relevant for me as a dad trying to raise 2 sons. Like, what's been the biggest challenge for you, raising two kids, raising two sons?
Well, this is true. I think trying to connect them back to where they're from, because we've been living in Suva all our lives, and
It's a lot of people
now
like
in the
that.
West.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's quite, and it's a city lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
But trying to connect them back. But I always take them back to my dad, because my dad's very old school, and
Yeah.
he speaks to them only in the dialect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I take them back all the time, just so they get that, so they get used to it, you know.
Yeah.
So when we did go back last year, they kind of knew what everyone was talking, like, because they only speak Kandavu there. They don't speak Mbawan. Yeah, Mino. Yeah. So like within the 3 days,
That's the very.
Like-
You're not from Kantavu.
yeah,
Very
it's very hard to
Okay, but
understand.
not more than Nandrona dialect, is it?
You can.
Nanruga you can pick out, but in
What?
this totally
It's even
different
more different.
totally different words. Like the words are
Eh?
nothing similar.
For them, the no is Mino.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like to bath is Zuzungu.
Zuzungu.
It's totally different. Yeah. It's nothing similar at all.
wow.
There's not like this. It's totally
Wow.
different words.
Wow.
Yeah.
So okay, so
Yeah, for them, like your hand is linga. Leg, lang.
Lang.
what?
Namu linga, namu lang.
Yeah. That's a famous
Funny.
saying. You give your hand and your leg for
Yeah. Namu linga,
sacrifice your hand and your leg.
Were you in Kantavu
Yeah.
for a bit?
Oh,
Utonialo?
no. When I was still with the Fijian.
Oh, you're with the
On.
Oh,
One day.
in the sawmill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How long did you stay there
That's
for?
nice down that side.
Month.
So that's a different island altogether.
It's in Kantavu, but yeah.
Yeah.
Island.
Oh, okay.
It's like an island on its own.
Kavala, they don't take a fiber from there to.
Long ways.
Lenore is from
Oh.
Sri Lanka, Lubuki.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the island.
Oh, okay. Well, you're also related to some rugby fame, hey?
Yeah.
You're-
Albert
Is
Tuisue.
Is your cousin brother?
Yeah, his dad and my dad are brothers.
So his dad is elder than your dad?
Older, yeah. My father's the youngest one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
So
he's your cousin brother.
So we're part of the Tuisue,
Yeah.
Tuisue bloodline, which goes back ages and ages.
Wow,
Yeah.
dude, he is a monster.
He's massive.
He's so
He had moved from the village, came and stayed with us in Suva when he was about 17. At 17
Is he younger
years
than
old-
you?
Yeah,
Oh, he's probably way
me.
younger than us.
He's
eh?
the same age as my younger brother, which is about five years younger than me.
Okay, yeah.
When he was 17, he weighed 110
What?
kilograms, and he had six pack and everything, man.
He just built like a giant.
That's from planting and diving and everything.
man.
Natural, eh?
Yeah.
Huge fella, man. Massive.
So what was his? Not to take this away from whatever's going on here, but now that we're talking about my hero, Just kidding. Actually, every time I see Albert, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so jealous of like that body, man.
Massive
Freaking just walking around like yoked up, you know?
He was sitting in my car one day. He was in the front seat, and his knee was to his chin like this. He's so big sitting in my car. My car looked so small, man. Yeah, I was like, this fella's
You were
huge,
saying?
huge.
Where they go for their gardens, where they planting.
Yeah.
Here to those things, it's nothing.
Oh,
Oh,
3-4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fit. Like they're fit, eh? Yeah. So, who else? Okay, so that makes sense because when I was talking to with Simi Kurwali, he was talking about Albert. Because
Yeah.
so are they from a similar area?
no,
Kurwali?
Kurwali is from where I went.
Oh no.
Chiliba.
Got it.
He's from Chiliba.
No, from his mother is from Chile.
Oh, his mother from Chiliba. Right.
Yeah.
From
So it's Chiliba nga, beside that is Asgang's village. You can see Chiliba from our place. Yeah. It's quite close.
when it's just top and
Next being,
to the sea like this is on.
Yeah.
Oh, like
Fishing
10
there.
minutes on the fiber.
No, shorter than that.
Sure then.
Oh.
It's close, really close. Really close.
Man, I gotta go down there. The fishing is supposed to be pretty good down there too.
And that was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Untouched.
Yeah.
But now they're building a road through the island.
Oh,
up to the top of Chiliver. Before the top half, no.
Is there
Nonsense.
any vehicles on Kandavu?
Yeah. This
Oh.
is,
What's Punsia? Punsia is like the town in Qatar.
yeah. That's where the big thing is, the big port.
Oh,
Government
There's always
quarters,
trucks and everything down that side.
like it's the size of Sengaga.
the southern guys. Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
facing the sea.
Oh, so it's not as beautiful as Sengaga. So you said
almost.
Yeah. There was two. We were talking about your kids and raising sons,
Mm.
and like one hard thing is like connecting them back to the culture.
Yeah.
And then you said there's two things.
Yes. And the other thing was spending time with them.
No, spending time with them.
Quality time
Yeah.
Quality time,
So what do
you
you
know,
guys do for like quality
Oh,
time? Because
so-
that's one thing I feel like a lot of parents
Yeah.
in Fiji don't do enough of,
Yeah, exactly.
and
exactly.
because it can be tough because like, okay, well, like I heard, I think your wife mentioned like, it's $70 per person to go to the Bula Water Park, right?
Yeah.
Like that reflects like over a day's wage for some people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
living in Nandi, so it's like, what do we? Here is a bit different, like in Honolulu, because like we have, free things that we can go and do, and it doesn't cost a lot. But like, what do you guys do?
So I normally just take them out to the cinemas and stuff
Yeah.
and watch a movie. But over time, I realized it's not really quality time with them.
Hmm.
So in the past few years now, we've been trying to go out, like drive up into the hills, just spend some time in the bush.
Yeah.
Or just go and swim in a river somewhere, spend
Yeah.
about 2 or 3 hours there, and just
Yeah.
do really basic stuff like climb trees and jump
Yeah.
off the tree and swim and see how deep you can go into the river and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I
Father
I think-
son stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just so they can learn all those kind of small things.
Yeah.
Because the town areas, it's very hard to show them all the kind of stuff. There's
Yeah.
really basic human skills, eh?
Yeah.
Because like my father with us, when I was in Suva, our house, we had a big yard at the back, so we used to plant. We had everything in there.
Hmm.
We used to kumala, andalo, tapioca, sugar cane. We put sugar cane in the ground, and so we used to go down with him every 2 weeks, go and pick stuff for dinner, for lunch, and then
Yeah.
he'll show us how to plant and climb trees and stuff like that. So I want a similar thing for my kids.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Which part of Nandi do you guys live in?
we live in Mamatinta.
Okay,
so
okay,
that's
yeah.
near Wailoa beachside.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
But in Suva, we were in Rewa Street.
River Street.
Around
River Street.
Yeah.
Why do I know River Street?
Flagstaff.
Oh yeah,
River
yeah,
Street.
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were living around
Yes.
that area, but we had a big yard, so it was really nice. My father was really into that whole with the land,
Yeah.
You get your food from the land, so I think it's just harder now for me to try and do the same thing
Yeah.
for my boys.
Yeah.
So I think every break now we're trying to take them back to the village,
Yeah.
the real village.
That's good.
Yeah, back with
In-
my uncles and all there.
And do you guys all go?
Family,
The
yeah.
whole family goes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last year we all went down. Me and my wife, the boys. My brother was there. Camped out on the beach because there's only one house where we staying, and it's out. It's far out.
Yeah.
So there's just one house with my uncles living in there, and a few other gang. So we just
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I think if I'd have to say one thing is like a lot of people will have, they're like guilt, I guess, about not spending, enough time, but like nothing else is more important than like your sons, and like whoever's watching, like there's nothing, your business, your work, your job, like there's always more businesses to start. Money is not, there's lots of money in the world. There's lots of jobs, but like your kids are what's like the most important. And I think, like during the week, it can be hard to make time for the kids, like how often does a day go by where you wake up, you say hi and bye, and then you're working all day, you come back at night, but that's where we have to make up that time, on the weekends and stuff like that, and really put in father-son time. Because even sometimes here, like people are like, "Wow, you get so much like good time with your kids." Like, man, sometimes like they're just hanging out with everybody
Yeah.
else, and then all I do is pray with them before they go to bed, you know? And it's hard not to just, like, sometimes be just a bad parent. Like, sometimes I realize I'm like, oh, I'm just angry with you. Or, like, you just, like, you're frustrating me because you're getting in my way. Like, because
So
you're
true,
slowing me
man.
down. And, like, that's so not right, you know? But that's how...
I just saw one of your sons on a horse
Oh, when you came to the
driving in. I was
village?
like, that is so cool. Like, but it's a hard, like not everyone learns to, go on a horse.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
show it where I had to go and stuff. And he's only what, 8, 9?
Yeah, 8, yeah.
So that's awesome skill to
That's
learn,
so
man.
funny.
At that age, like that's really cool.
He's just posing for you guys with
Yeah.
that or something. When you guys were driving in, he was on the horse.
Like that's one of the Wawaka gang there. That's one of them. Which is really cool. I was like, see,
Oh.
boys, you two have to learn how to go on a horse.
They're all like, dude, this guy is just, he's too much. He's too much. My kid's probably just like, yeah, watch me up here.
I look so cool. Right
Yeah,
now.
it looks so cool, right now, these people. So, so the goal is to take the circus
Yeah.
to,
So
you're using Fiji as like a practice ground.
Yes.
I mean, for lack of a better
Yeah.
term. Obviously, you guys are perfecting it here.
because it's
Like-
a totally new thing altogether, like a circus.
Yeah.
When you're traveling and how you run a circus is
Do
completely.
you guys learn something
different.
new every time you do it?
Oh, completely. I learned something. For the past 17 years now, I've learned new things every single year. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, because the circus is a totally different ball game, So we were doing a local tour just to see how we run and how we can manage it
Yeah.
and see if it can go.
How's
and
your
then-
wife finding it? Like, like it's not her. It's not like it's not dance. It's
No.
totally something different. But you guys are finding passion in it.
Yeah.
Like you
we
guys
just-
fulfilling you guys.
Yeah,
That's cool.
because we know, like, even when we our first show, when we went in there, and then there was these little kids who were sitting, and then they saw them go up into the gang do these flips, and the look on their face, the little kids, they're all just like in awe, like. And that's our rush. That's
Yeah,
what
okay,
we get
okay,
out of
okay,
it.
okay, okay.
Like we love to see everyone like that, feel that energy and spirit.
So maybe it's
mana
even
that we
better
feel.
than dance. Like for a time, like it's just different, right?
I
It's
know,
like invigorating
for
you
us,
guys.
Like even I've seen that show so many times, and
Yeah.
I want to go and see it again. I can't get enough of it.
Sick.
It's really cool, man. It's
Wow.
really cool. So I think the main thing is just we wanted everyone to see it and have that same that same rush and be like,
Yeah.
wow, and this is done here locally.
Yeah.
Like
Have-
we can do it here.
Have you guys? Do you guys like promo it at all? Like, can you guys film any part of it, or is that kind of
No,
spoil it?
we do. We told everyone you can film it, you can record it and put up online.
Yeah.
But just no live feed because then everyone can see the show live,
Yeah, exactly.
the whole show.
That's the
You,
thing.
you can take snippets and stuff. That's fine with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we come, we can make
yeah,
like a highlights of it or something like that.
yeah,
Okay.
sure, man, for
Yeah.
sure. There's
'Cause-
some really cool stuff inside there. I'm sure you wouldn't see some of the stuff in like the Soleil.
Yeah.
Only with us.
I love it. I love it. Well, dude, I think yeah, thanks for joining us on the mat for the podcast.
Pleasure, man.
I know it's like a little bit informal. We're
Very
just sitting here with the
humbled to
boys.
be here. Thank you so much for having
No,
us.
appreciate it. So guys, if you guys are in Lambasa from the 21st to the 5th, there's going to be live shows at what time? 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yeah, 7
During
p.m. And
the
then
week.
Saturday, Sunday, there's a 7 p.m. show, but there's also a 3
p.m.
3 p.m. show.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, bro. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice to
Cheers.
meet you.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet
Appreciate
you.
it. All right.
Finally.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for all the support, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Naka.
Okay, so welcome back to part 2. We hear you're a bit of a circus freak. So we'd like to can you introduce yourself and then we'll go from there.
Yes, voila. My name is Sachiko. Sachiko Soro. I think you had my better half, the bodyguard guy, on the podcast earlier. I am involved with the Vou Circus that's touring around Fiji at the moment.
And what is the point of your tour right now? Why are you guys going all around Fiji? Why did you even come over to this island in Honolulu?
Well, we're so excited because this is Fiji's first ever circus, and we've had some amazing circus instructors that came all the way from Cuba. And it's just crazy what they've been able to train these Fijian artists to do. And we thought it was so special that we had to take it out to the communities. You know, we had to show all corners of the country like these amazing young Fijian artists and like what they can do. So even though it's like it's hard to bring a 40-foot container on the boat and then on the truck and then put it up, but it's so worth it to see all the kids' faces and everyone like laughing and clapping. So yeah, so we're in Mombasa now. Yeah,
That's great. Do you find that your team gets a little bit more inspiration from traveling to different areas than they normally get to go? Like in the north, has it been a different experience for your team? How have they enjoyed it? What is that like for them?
it's been so cool.
Yeah.
Especially going to all the different parts of Fiji where the dancers are from.
Oh,
So
okay.
like, you know, they get to perform for their own audiences. Like for example, in Savasava, we got 4 dancers that come from there. And even one of the girls that came in to an audition just last year, Michelle Barrick, and she does the hair hang.
Oh,
You know, she hangs
wow.
by her hair. And it's so funny because her parents were with her at the audition a year ago, and then they come back and she's like hanging from her hair.
And
It's
they're
so
like,
crazy.
what have they done to you? Why are they stringing you up by your hair? Are you
I know,
okay, honey? Do you need to be rescued out of
I
there?
know, you're right. But it was so cool, you know, like because they can see, you know.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
They can see the progress. Do you find that they get a little bit like more harassed because it's hometown? Like, do they get a little bit more like jabbing from their friends, or do they just get a lot more kava after the show? What is that?
Well, it's good to see the different reactions. Savasava has definitely been a very lively crowd, like really,
Okay.
you know, responsive and stuff. Yeah, but all of the places we've been to, we've had dancers from each of the different places, like Rakiraki, Singatoka, you know, and we've got another 5 stops to go. So
Okay.
it's so cool,
Yeah,
like
that's
being
fun.
able to go out to different places.
We're pretty excited. We're going to be going next week. I think on Friday is kind of the plan. We'd like to drag out a bunch of the kids from the village. To me, I kind of think that the kids will enjoy it more. I really love the circus, and I really like Cirque du Soleil. And I was
Oh,
like,
yes.
this is like the Fiji version of that.
Yeah.
Even like I did gymnastics growing up, and as we're homeschooling right now, yesterday I was teaching my children how to do handstands, and I'm trying to get them to work towards walking on their hands because I can
That's ambitious.
slightly do that still. I used to do gymnastics.
That's amazing.
And now that I'm old, I can only take like 2 steps on my hands, but I'm doing push-ups so I can get better. as
Yay.
well.
That's
so maybe
awesome.
next year I'll come and swing by my hair too. and
Yes,
then-
you're more than welcome. Anytime.
awesome,
Run
actually.
away with the circus.
Do you guys do silks in the circus at all?
Yes.
Oh.
So the story, it's based on like all of the natural fauna and fauna from Fiji. So it's a fictional story. So this girl called Loma, she's gifted these magical shoes.
Okay.
And this like sneaky valley comes and steals one of her shoes. So she has to go. You have to come and watch this show.
Well,
But she
well-
catches another valley, and the valley grants her a wish. So
Okay.
she asks him to help her find her shoes. So they have to go on this journey, and then they meet, you know, the parrots, and they meet the giants, and they meet the, you know, all of the creatures from Fiji. You know,
that's
and
cool.
so like all of the different, like so the silks, for example, they're supposed to be one of the native species of parrot.
Okay.
So there's like all these bird sounds and stuff.
I
So
love
you have to
that.
come and watch the show. And in the program, it tells a story of all the different native species, like the
Okay.
trees and the animals. Yeah.
I think this is going to be great. Okay, and if I'm wrong, I'm so sorry, and this is online, but I think it's your dance group that did this music video a while back where they're up in like the bush and the guys are like doing like this tribal fight and it's choreographed. Is that your dance group? I'm so sure it is.
I think so. Yeah, Tanganyika. Yes,
Is
that's
that
right.
What it is?
Yeah.
Like that's my favorite probably music video I've seen, and that's
love
with
it.
your
It
dance
gives me
group.
goosebumps
Yeah, it's
every
so
time.
Good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if it's like that same kind of like storytelling, this is gonna be fantastic. And I think this kind of we've needed a circus.
Yeah.
Like the festivals are great. The Ferris wheels are terrifying and sketchy. You know, like we might die on them.
Yeah.
And you know, going to a circus is a lot safer, and you get a high level of entertainment. to
Yes.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Not to bash the festivals, but we were there like when it was open, and my kids wanted to go on the big Ferris wheel.
Oh no.
And last year, I went on like the baby one with them, and I
Oh,
screamed
no.
the entire time.
Oh,
I
my
could not
God.
stop. Like it was not like well, let's try to scream to have fun. I was terrified.
Literally.
And then the guy that was running the circus wheel was like, or Ferris wheel, he's like, oh, we'll let you go for free again, because he was like, I love you.
It's like, thank
And
you.
I was
No.
like, no.
Get me off.
I'm so scared. So we made Tui and Croy go with the boys this year, and the whole time I was just like, please don't
Outsource.
die. Please don't die. Yeah, it was just a little scary. Yeah, I just realized, okay, this is a new fear unlocked for me, but that's all right. So
I know.
I embrace the circus. We're ready for it. And
I know when we were kids going to Hibiscus, we'd jump on all the Ferris wheels. But now you're an
Yeah.
adult and you can see how they're put together. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm not letting my kids on those Ferris wheels.
Well, and they do say, like, with young people, especially in boys, I think it's till, like, they're 28 years old, that the part in their brain that develops the part of consequences doesn't develop fully until they're, like, in their late 20s. And so
Oh my
this
goodness.
is why there's a lack of fear going into things, because they don't go, oh, I could die, or I could fall off this cliff, or if I ride this horse down the hill, the horse might trip and we'll both break our necks, things like that. Like, it's not quite developed, and obviously some people's brains develop more, but women, we have that.
Yes.
We have
Caution.
it in there.
Yeah.
It's quite funny.
Yeah.
So with your dance career, you were telling me that you were a dancer.
I'm an expired dancer now.
You're not an expired dancer. I'm a dancer in my kitchen. And,
Yes.
you don't want to see the moves, and I'm sure your moves are still much better.
Yeah.
So there's no expiration on that.
No.
You're fine. How did you get into that? Did your parents push you into dance, or you wanted to dance, or how did you start off as a kid? Or
I've just always really loved dancing. I grew up mostly in Suva, and one of my aunties who's from the Cook Islands, her name's Jennifer Liu. She had a Cook Island dance group when we were in primary school, and she taught me that. And then in secondary school, I joined the Oceania Dance Theatre at USP, when that was my first taste of contemporary dance. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love it. So I told my parents, I was like, I'm going to I actually went to New Zealand, went for university to study music. And then I got into dance school by fluke, because I think they had they have some spaces for kids from the Pacific Islands and Maori kids. So I got in, but I was spastic because everyone else had done ballet since they were this big.
Oh, nice.
And then we were like, oh my gosh, but I just loved it, and I just worked really hard, and I just had so much fun, even though I was retarded compared to everyone else in the class. But and then when I came back, I worked at USP for a little while, and then we just decided to start Vou. Vou means new, so it was sort of like a space where young Fijians could create stories that represented them as urban Fijians and what their lived experience was like in a modern day Fijian reality, and a free space for Fijian storytelling. Yeah.
And it's interesting here, I see in Canada, dance can be attributed to being quite feminine. A lot of fathers over there that are too masculine would never put their children in dance. Where in Fiji, I don't see that being a cultural issue. A lot of the performers are, at the hotels being warriors or doing things, and it's such a cultural piece of the community. I think that's really interesting to see the difference where and also I don't see there's hula, but there's not that much twerking or anything too wild over here, where I feel in Canada, Western countries, you can see a little bit of I don't know, less interesting dancing, just more inappropriate.
There's a little bit of twerking in the circus.
Well, that's fine. It is
Just
a
for
circus.
fun.
I'm not saying there shouldn't be. I'm just saying that some of the maybe drawback for people in Western cultures, maybe not to have some of their boys in dance. I'm not sure. What do you think about that?
In the Pacific, there's such a strong masculine energy out of the traditional dance forms.
Yeah.
Like meke and haka and whaataupati, or the laka laka. All of these forms have very strong energy, and I think that's the draw card for a lot of and we have a lot of really strong male dancers, and I think that's translated quite easily into the circus because they're so naturally strong and athletic and flexible. They've been able to throw themselves into a new form of training quite easily. Even the Cuban trainers were like, "Wow, these guys are really fast," and they're pretty fearless. They're like, "Jump off of this thing," and they're like, "Okay,"
they're like, "I'm
can you flip off this thing? Okay,
there's no safety harness."
They're just in it.
I do that. Well, you know what? You can take some of the kids from this village and make them into the circus performers, and they'll do just fine. I know.
Yeah.
Just over the weekend when we had Seven Eyes' birthday, we were just in a pool, and the kids are diving head first, and they're almost hitting the edge, but they just know the exact spot not to die. And I'm like, okay, I am responsible for your life, so please don't.
Oh my God.
Brain injury is hard to recover from, but
Especially in Senganga.
yeah, yes, that's exactly.
But seriously, if you do have any of the kids, because we usually do our recruitment every January, we go to a lot of different villages and towns all around Fiji.
Okay.
And we take in youth from the age of 17 to 23.
Oh, cool.
And you can come in we just do a workshop, like an interactive workshop. And for the youth that get in, we provide free accommodation and free allowance for 2 years to train them.
Yeah, which is absolutely amazing.
And it's a certified diploma program that they get.
So do you guys, how are you able to fund that? Like from the business perspective of it, when you started, I remember you had told me that it was like a huge risk for you guys starting out. You moved from Suva to Nandi and you sold your family's house to start this. When you did that, did you guys decide to go into this program right away to have the 2-year mentorship? Or how did you afford the startup and the training and all of this stuff with the dancers that you have now?
Yeah, it was, as you say, it was a massive risk. So we started making dance work in Suva because we were passionate about it. And we felt there was, the stories that we were telling were important stories. But we weren't able to pay anyone because we couldn't it wasn't viable.
Yes.
But we wanted to
like,
be able
dance for joy.
It's like we need to pay our bills. This is not going right. But and we wanted to be able to support the dancers full time, and so we were talking with the dancers and with Eddie, and was like, okay, if we want to be able to pay the dancers full time, which we needed to, if we were to make high quality work, So we all decided we're all going to move to Nandi because that's where we could integrate what we were doing with the tourism industry, and that with that foreign exchange, pay the dancers full time to make the work that we wanted to make.
Okay.
But in order to make the large scale work that we wanted to make in the tourism industry, we also needed a pipeline of trained dancers coming in that would work full time because it takes so long to train a dancer. It's not like you can just I'm going to dance today. Like it's quite a specialized skill.
Yeah, like if you put me in,
you'd be great.
So bad. I can kind of swing
You can
dance.
do a handstand.
I can kind of walk on my hands and I can kind of swing dance. And I know ballroom. But anything else like solo dancing
Fabulous.
is not happening.
We can work with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can ballroom dance and then we'll go from there. No, John cannot couples dance. No, honey. And his vibe is really island vibe, where mine is like ballroom and like partner dancing.
Yeah.
And John's like got this offbeat, and I'm like, no, honey, it's 1, 2,
It's
3,
the Tete
4.
dance.
It's
Tete
not-
Tevioja.
Yeah, we're not doing that. There's no partner dancing for us. Yeah. That's really funny though. It's okay. We can just mock John the rest of the podcast, and
I'm open to that.
That's why we're doing a ladies podcast. That's right. So when you guys all moved to Nandi, were you guys all in the same house?
Yeah, we all moved over from
Okay,
Suva.
so how many of you were?
At that time, I think, I don't know how many moved from Suva with us, like 10. But we got 82 people in Vou now, but it's slowly grown over time. You
so
know?
how did you kick them out of your house? Or like, how did you separate yourself? Or do you still live with all of those people?
We all moved into the dance studio.
Okay, all right, I love it. That's totally what I would do. Okay.
So we had this, it was like an old building and there was like an indoor car park. So we just put a wooden floor and that became the studio and we all lived upstairs.
Okay, great.
Like,
I love that.
in each other's pockets until we went mental.
That's
No,
what,
just kidding.
well, yes. Okay, so from what point you moved to Nandi, you were all living together communally, driving each other nuts, training all the time, trying to get these gigs. At what point were you guys making enough money? How long did it take you to make enough money to get yourselves out of there and not be living in this communal situation?
Well, okay, so we only ever had one grant that was the EU funding that was after COVID, that paid for scholarships for like some of the dancers and stuff to be able to study, which was such a breath, like a lifeline for us coming out of COVID. But Vou has been running for 17 years, and I feel like we've only been self-sustainable post-COVID.
Okay.
Like it's been a real passion project.
Yeah, but that's
you know what I
great.
mean?
I think this is
But
what we were
it's
talking
so
about.
worth it. Like, you know what I mean? The work that we do is so fulfilling, and we're able to pay everyone full time. Like it's a viable career now.
When you guys are breaking ground, so like when you're trying to do something new in business, like build a dance community within Fiji, it's not going to be easy because this is something new. This is something difficult to do, and it's something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So money does not always line up with passion, because
Yeah.
sometimes you're doing it because you love it so much and not because you're going to make bank.
Yeah.
And I
That's-
think
yeah.
like that can get a little bit hard to balance, because eventually you do need to be able to feed.
You have to be able to pay
yourself,
everyone, or
right?
you can't do it
You can't
long.
eat
Yeah.
off of passion, which is unfortunate. You
Yeah.
might be very skinny and look amazing.
That didn't happen to me, unfortunately.
No, you look great. Shush. You've had kids now, and you're retired, so you just got to get in there practicing. and-
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so with all like the business stuff, what was kind of like the turning point where you guys, like after COVID, you got this grant, and then what was the thing that started making you guys a decent amount of income where you guys could go, okay, we can move out of this. We are now being able to keep this rolling, and you guys are now bringing the circus around, so there is income happening. So what do you think that was that thing?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like everything just clicked, like, after COVID. Like, we had some, like, really good contracts. We have an amazing team.
Yes.
Like, we all got through COVID together. We didn't lay anyone off. We continued to pay everyone through COVID, through digital
So
projects.
do you think
Like,
maybe it's your reputation that you grew over years, that like
Maybe.
people started to go like, oh, if we want dancers, it's Vou. Like they work hard, they train, they always
Yeah.
show up. Do you think?
That's it. It's like the consistency and the reliability is super key. Like, especially like, you know, when you're working in, you know, the tourism industry, you can't
Yeah.
rock up late. Like, there's no Fiji time.
No.
Like, you know, like, and we just have really great dedicated artists. And I think like through that, we were able to reach a level of quality where we were able to charge the amount of money that it costs
Yes.
to maintain the quality.
Well, and you
you know?
have to be able to charge a good amount, because otherwise it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And then the passion dies.
Yeah.
You were telling me earlier that you guys kind of created like this beautiful, strict culture in your community, because I was asking you, how do you get people to show up on time? How are you getting these people that are in for 2 years to stay and be dedicated? What does that look like for your team?
It means kicking them out if they don't show up.
Yeah, well,
It sounds
I
terrible.
applaud that.
No.
Do it.
No, but I'm a super time crazy lady. I'm like the time crazy lady, because if you let it slide with one person, it slides with everyone,
Yes.
and then you just can't do anything.
Yeah.
So with the Conservatorium Dance program, we provide everything for the students. Like, there's accommodation, there's allowance. We'll give you free training, which is like crazy. But the deal is you have to turn up on time.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's some discipline, there's some rules. Like, especially we're really strict about like drinking and that kind of stuff. Like, you
Okay.
have to maintain a level of discipline, and there's like a 3-strike thing, you know, with especially time
Yeah.
management. Like, and so the ones that sort of get through it and they're really dedicated and focused, after that first part of training, they're awesome, like for the rest of their careers, and
Yeah.
they're just really dependable, professional, like reliable.
Well, and they've bought into your dream. I think like
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize it's really important to have your team buy into what you're doing, because then they take it on as their own dream.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's their pursuit. Like the girls at our coffee shop, I was telling you, I'm not
They're
involved.
amazing. I love
Thank
them. Yeah. Yeah.
And they're really bought in, and
Mm.
they love the people, and they tell me all the time, like, I just love serving our customers, and like, you know, it's so great that they're coming in and they're excited about it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a space that they want to give good service to, and that's like a cultural thing within your business. And I think you guys probably have done that with your dancers, where if they've made it past that like trial point, they've bought in, now they're reliable, and your dream is their dream, and you've been able to create that for them, like a space for where they can dream, because not everybody has that dreaming capability or that risk-taking ability.
Yeah.
Like you guys
It
sold
is
your
big.
family house. That's a big risk.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was all in. I was like, if this doesn't work, we're pretty like
Okay, so out of the two of you and your husband, who was like, let's sell this house?
me. I was like,
Okay.
let's go. And,
Yeah.
then I was like, and Eddie was like, okay.
I love it, because you gotta give me this. You gotta fist pump me, because I was the same. John's like, I don't know if we can. I was like, no, let's move to Fiji. Very like,
Yeah.
But I think like maybe in my relationship, my husband knew we would not as a family be able to do it if I was not on board.
Oh
with
yeah,
doing that
totally.
hard
You have to
thing.
both believe that
Yeah.
what you're doing is worth it for your family and for the future. I'm like, my life mission is like, I'm really passionate about developing potential in youth.
Okay.
You know, you just see these amazing youth and they've got so much to give, and there's so much, you know, so that's my life's work, is like providing opportunities for youth
Okay.
to realize their skills and their talents, and having a place for that. So, I mean, I'll spend my life doing that because I find it so rewarding, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you think
It's not-
that passion developed from?
It's just like, it's just so rewarding. You see a young person come into the studio and you're like, okay, left, right. And I'm like, no, right, right, right. They're so spaz. And then like after 2 months, and then you see them on the stage and they can turn. And then after a year, you can see they're like flipping or after, like, it's just, it's
Like their
totally mind blowing
confidence
to me
development.
every time. And I'm like crying on the side of the stage, like,
Aw.
oh my God, look at Penny. He didn't even know which was left. And now he's like, you know, like, like, you know, it's like, it's
I love
worth
it, though.
more than anything in the world. Like that feeling, you know?
That's so
Yeah.
cute. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's learn a little bit more about you. Where did you grow up in Fiji, and what's your family history? What's your background with your parents and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So I grew up in Suva. My parents are originally from Australia, but I've lived like my whole life in Fiji. Like mostly in Suva, they have a big connection with Coral Island as well. So
Okay.
back and forth to
And
Coral.
why did your parents? Why are they here?
Okay, so my mom is an architect, my dad is a property developer, and they, I don't know how they ended up in Fiji. I was made in Japan. That's why I've got a Japanese name, Sachiko. I'm like, everyone's always asking, when I go to a meeting, they're expecting like a Japanese person. I'm
Yeah.
like, hi, it's me. They're like, why have you got a Japanese name? I'm like, made in Japan, good quality. Like, so then after I was made in Japan, they ended up in Fiji.
Is there a meaning?
Yeah,
what's the
Japanese.
meaning?
Sachiko means happy one.
Happy one. Oh, well, there you go. They picked a good name.
Yeah,
That's
I see
great.
it, yeah.
That's lovely. Most of the time.
Yeah.
Well, happy one with some fire underneath. I'm
Yeah.
sure, yeah. That's all right. That's what you
happy
need.
one / psycho lady.
Well, you're a dance instructor, so you better
Yeah,
be.
it's in there.
Right? That's right.
When my
Turn
husband's
right,
like,
right. Okay, lady.
lady. Yeah.
Okay, so they raised you here. You
Yeah.
don't know why they came to Fiji.
Oh yeah, they
But they
just
stuck
loved
it
it.
out.
They
They
just
loved it.
love Fiji. They'll never leave. Yeah.
And they were happy. And are you an only child, or do you have
yes,
siblings? Oh,
I'm
really?
only child. Yeah.
And so, how was that growing up in Suva as like the solo white girl in your house? Did you go
Yeah.
to a public school? Did you go to private school? What did that? look
Well,
like?
yeah, it was really, I mean, Suva's Suva. Like, it's like all the kids in the Yasa play together, you know, like they would go around to each other's house on
Yeah.
Diwali or in Christmas or, you know, like, but yeah, what was the other question? Oh, yeah, no, but I went to international school in Suva,
you
which
did?
was
Okay.
really lucky because they had a lot of creative subjects in school, which is where I got to do music and dance and art
Okay,
in
yes.
school,
Oh, that's
which is where I
great.
was kind of exposed to that
Yeah.
kind of stuff as well.
Yeah. Okay, that
Mm.
makes more sense to me because I was kind of wondering, like, where did this like dancing thing?
Yeah, it
come
definitely
from?
wasn't from my parents.
Okay. Well, you
Sorry, Mom.
and it's funny
She's
because
arty, but not dancing.
yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of parents are not very excited when their children are like, "Mom, I'm gonna be a dancer."
Yeah.
So how did they take that?
Oh no, my dad was like, do whatever you want. Like they really encouraged me,
Oh,
really
okay.
supportive. Like really, like I don't think Vo would be here today if it wasn't for
Okay.
my mom and dad. Like really back me 100%. And so I know that a lot of the Fijian dancers, they go through that with their parents.
Yeah.
You know, like what are you doing? Like it's not a real job. Like you
Yes.
know what I mean? And it's so hard for a lot of them. Because they're so good at what they do, and
Yeah.
it's like they're torn because they also love their parents and they want to make them proud. So it's a hard thing that a lot of dancers have to go through. But I was really proud during COVID that we were still able to keep everyone employed.
Yes,
You
which is
know,
amazing.
whereas everyone in Nandi was in not everyone, but a lot of people were in a tough situation.
Yes,
you know,
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, no tourism is kind of ghost town. John and I
Yeah.
went to quite a few hotels during COVID because it was cheap and we could afford it.
yeah,
And it was so weird because we'd be like the only people sometimes in a hotel. And then if
it was so weird.
yeah, and near the end they were opening up to like locals and that was great. But I had to change what I was wearing because at the pool I'd wear my bathing suit. But then when they opened up to locals, there were so many clothes and I looked way too naked. So I was like, okay, I gotta cover back up because this is no longer
This is not
like
going, yeah.
the naked space. I had a bathing suit. I even had a one piece on, but I was just like, nope. And then after that, it was really funny because we went back when the tourists started coming back, and I just said, John, there's so many fat, naked white people here. It's so weird compared to the last
so much
two.
skin.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, which is better.
Yeah, it's like culture shock all over again. Yeah, it's really funny. So when you guys are working with the staff, something I notice in Fiji with some of the staff that I've had is they're two different people. At home, they're this very quiet, submissive, not excitable person. And then at work, they're really like talkative and fun. And do you guys notice any of that?
Like
in your
with me
industry?
or with this?
No, with some of your staff, like your dancers that come in. Do you see like them breaking out of their shell when they first come in? Like you have them there for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, did they come in and they're like really mandua, and then they change into like the person they really are underneath of that?
I think so. I think that they definitely grow in confidence as time goes on, because the nature of the work means that you're forced to like communicate constantly, like with each other and also with the audience, and you have to like be able to talk to all different kinds of people. So definitely they come in and they've like, you know, mandua, like don't know how to speak to like people. I'm like, just talk. It doesn't matter. Like nothing you can say is going to be wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like just don't worry about it. You know, just be yourself. You know, and so they grow in confidence. Yeah, it's really rewarding to see.
So when they're learning to dance, are you guys? What do you think like their biggest life skill they're developing outside of dance is? Like, do you think there's something else that they're learning going through this program?
Totally. Like the Conservatorium of Dance program, I suppose, like it's the whole thing. So within the curriculum, they do dance technique, dance repertoire, dance theory, and then performance. So there's like all these different units they have to cover. But outside of that, it's like learning to live with other people and learning to like be an adult, like cook and clean and like all of on your stuff, because usually it's the first time they've lived outside of their home.
Oh, okay.
All of that kind of stuff, you know, and like all of the interpersonal stuff, and also the time management is really important. Like, you know, getting them to make sure that they sleep 8 hours and all of this like really basic stuff that's not really basic when you first move out of home. So I suppose it's like all of those life skills that. And then also another thing that we do, like once they graduate and they become full-time dancers. So then every year what we do is that they can shift roles within the company. So they dance and then they can choose an extra role, like either marketing, lighting and sound, props, like customer feedback or merchandise. Like they use these other roles. And so every year they change roles so they can learn like a wide range of skills.
I love that. That's really good.
Yeah, rehearsal director, choreographer, teacher, all of these other things. So when they, you know, come towards the end of their dancing on stage, like maybe after 20 years, they know if they want to be a dance teacher or a dance researcher or a lighting designer, or you know what I mean? They can start to specialize.
Yeah,
you know?
That's really great.
Yeah.
That actually allows them to plan for their future a little bit better. So a lot of people are kind of like, I guess when my dance career is done, I'm done.
Yeah, no, but there's so many careers. It's so exciting, especially in Fiji where it doesn't really exist yet, you know?
Yeah, well, you're building it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a cool example that you guys are setting, because you built this new company, this new thing that people weren't doing before you did it. And now you're showing these young people what building a business looks like. You're taking them in under your wing, and hopefully they'll see if they want to build something for themselves in the future or build something with you guys.
Absolutely.
Right? Because Fiji doesn't have much, so there is room to expand. You know?
Yeah.
There is room
There's
for
room for
growth.
everyone. Yeah.
And I think that's really great. And it's even better if they can come on board and be an asset to you guys and grow with the team that's already there. I think a lot of people are not brave enough to do it on their own, and
it's hard, yeah.
and it's harder than they think.
Oh my god, it's hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, ooh, that's why my hair is all gray. And luckily, it's in fashion now when it's not our diet.
That's right.
But we've had some really awesome companies that have started, like from people that have been in Vou.
Okay.
Like Tivita runs Mata Dance Company in Suva, and they're doing so well. And like Masi and Maria Rova, the Roving Rovers, they met in Vou, and now they got their photography art business. And who else? Charlene runs the festivals company, and she's just doing such amazing things. Like, and it's so rewarding to see these like people grow and develop, and we're all still like friends and support each other and stuff, you know?
Oh, and that's beautiful. And you'd be so proud of them, and like, yeah, and that connection that you guys build, especially when you have people training with you and
Yeah,
like living
sweating
yeah
in the
for
studio.
2 years, like that connection is so
Yeah.
deep after a while.
Mm.
You guys were telling me that you had a group come in from Canada
Yes.
recently to do a dance exchange. Tell us about that. How did that go?
Okay, so Gina is a Canadian dancer. She kind of like turned up on our doorstep one year in 2012 and was like, "Can I just live here and teach you guys dance?" I was like, "Sure." So she ended up staying with us for 2 years and marrying one of our dancers from
I
Nairai.
knew it was gonna happen. I was like, yeah. She
No,
came and
yeah.
she was like, okay, boys, shirts off. Just kidding, everybody from Vou, kind of.
Wayne was one of our dancers. Anyway, they fell in love, and like after a while, she moved back to Canada and she started a dance school there that is doing
Okay.
really well. And we've always kept in touch. We're really good friends. So she brought like a whole heap of her dancers over for an exchange, and they just made such great friends with the Conservatorium of Dance students. They did a show together. And so it'll be a relationship. So next year we'll send some of our students over to Canada.
Yeah, which would
Yeah.
be really a great experience.
It's
and
so
I hope
cool.
that you guys do keep having them come back because I
Oh
think
yeah.
it'll be really neat for the team and to see different dance styles and cultural stuff. And
Yeah.
it's just all around good. And you know what? People from Canada, you might have a few guys get married again. You know,
Oh,
just
man.
keep bring them in. And we'll
As
source
long as
some
they're coming to
wives
Fiji, not
and
going that way.
just the new immigration program of wives. I'm just
Oh yeah.
this is really terrible. I'm sorry. I'm just joking. That's really terrible. Anyway.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Tui has a question for us.
Knowing Vou, right? It's a new thing. I was just asking your husband. Did you face a lot of criticism when it first started, and how did you guys deal with it?
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question again. Tui's just asking the question of when you guys started Vou as a new thing, were you facing a lot of criticism with this new dance company, and how did you deal with all that criticism?
Yes. I think that Vou has always received a lot of criticism, and rightly so. Like, I think it's, as an artist, like not everyone is always gonna like or understand or appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think Vou was one of the first companies to really explore what Fijian contemporary dance was, specifically, and I think that being a new thing, like it's not meke and it's not contemporary dance, and it's something in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's something that is like young Fijians expressing themselves in new ways, which was really, first, everyone was like, what is this? Like, what? Like, you know? And some people were like, wow, this is really innovative, you know? So it was received both ways. But what for us at Vou has always been really important is that all the work that the dancers make, because the dancers make the work themselves, and they're all young Fijians.
Like they design the dances and create it. And
they
practice
create
it.
their own dances. So they're young indigenous Fijians making their own work, telling their
Okay.
own stories with their own voice. What was really important for us is that is always coming from a very well-informed place.
Okay.
So one of the projects that Vou always does is what we started to do with a project that began in 2013 called Matangali Drift, where we try and support the young Fijians who may some of them may have grown up in the village, some of them may have grown up in like an urban setting, and for whatever reason haven't been able to return to their village because it might be expensive, like you have to buy tambua and
Okay,
waka and
yeah.
all these kinds of things. So we help facilitate that for them,
Oh,
and
cool.
and help them to reconnect with their roots,
Yeah.
and that'll just help inform them as contemporary choreographers.
Definitely.
You know what I
Because
mean? Yeah.
Contemporary dancing, well, I'm not a dancer, but it's storytelling,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
to be able to portray what's actually happening, especially if they want to do anything like history or in their roots or back, portraying
Yeah.
their clan or their village and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then for them to be learning their traditional dances, it really helps like them have a sense of confidence in when they're making contemporary work that comes from a place of knowing, you know?
Like on
Yeah.
authenticity. Sorry, I
Yeah.
can't say that word.
So even though I think that like Vou has been heavily criticized a lot, as long as we know that our processes are following traditional protocol and being done in the respectful way, I think it's a direction that we need to help enable our youth to go in if
Yeah.
that's what they want to.
Yeah.
And we need to help our youth express themselves and research the way that they want to. You know, it's their artistic voice that we're just helping
Yes.
come out, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that's
Mm.
great. So when you were dealing with opening this and you were having all this criticism thrown at you, How did you personally deal with it?
Just crying
Just crying.
constantly.
Okay,
No, it's really hard. Like, yeah,
I'm laughing. It's not
now.
funny, but yeah, I understand because I've had those moments. So.
Yeah, it's and once you pour your heart and your soul into something, and it's not, you're not only crying for you, you're crying for the person that has put themselves on the line to make that work, you know, and they are the ones that are on the stage and creating the criticism, and sometimes it's something about themselves that they can't change, like their race or their gender or their hair, or you know, something that about themselves is being so brutally assassinated that is without, you know, they can't change these things, and so I cry for the hurt that people have in their hearts to put these things online as well. It's just such a painful thing to go through.
Yeah, it is one of those things where when you put yourself out there into the public sphere, and dancing is very public, you know, thing that people come and watch, or you put it online, and you know, people will always have something to criticize, unfortunately. And I think, like, even like in the Olympics this year, that American gymnast Simone Biles, there was a lot of criticism over her hair.
I know, it's like, did you just see her flip? Like,
like so many comments over her hair. And it's just like, you're not like doing your edges nicely, and your hair is always frizzy, and it's not neat. Yeah, do your hair better. And it's not like they have hairdressers coming with them, but she's like the best in the world.
Yeah.
Right? And so I always look at that and go, okay, if someone like her, who's the best in the world at her sport, can get criticized for her hair, then I can get criticized for anything, and so can your dancers. And I think, like, if you kind of put that perspective in it and go, okay, if I'm going to be online, even Simone Biles get criticized for her hair, someone will get you for something.
Yes.
And you need to not take it too personally and just forget about that person.
That's such good advice.
John always says, what do you always say, hun? Something about nobody criticizes you that's doing better than you. So people that are doing better than you don't really waste their energy looking down on you going, you suck. Because they've already made it. They're already in a place where they feel secure about themselves, right? And people from below you are looking up and trying to pull you back down with them. And so I think, like, if you can walk through and go, okay, I'm just going to do me, and whoever is trying to pull me down is actually struggling with something.
Yeah.
You know,
it's sad,
doesn't mean that they're financially below you or whatever situation, but they're struggling with something, and so they're trying to pull you down to their level. So I think, like, even for me online, that helps me keep a perspective.
And also, like, I think that what I learned recently, like with the really bad criticism that we've got online, is like, I think that, and that's what I really love about the Waka family and what you guys do. You're really great at telling the day-to-day story, like your lived experience day-to-day, and I think that we've been really bad at doing that. And they don't understand how much time Vou dancers spend in community doing research, connecting. How do we come up with this movement? How did we ask permission to use this specific movement in this dance? We have done the ceremony, but we haven't documented it. Like, we haven't gone with a camera and like, and what I realized through this last like wave of criticism, I was like, we are really bad at telling that behind the scenes story. And maybe if we had been better at doing that, we wouldn't be such a misconception of like, where the hell did this dance come from? Like, you know what I mean? But they don't understand that it was a year of a project towards that point in time.
You know, really interesting to start with is like, and it's not too late. You say we haven't done this, and it sounds the way you're phrasing it like we failed to do it, but you can still do it. That's the interesting thing.
That's true.
Because you still have your dancers, you still have your company, you still have your story to tell.
Yeah.
And that's what marketing and advertising your company is about, is telling the stories of your dancers, about your company, some of your struggles, because people want to hear that. They connect with struggle and pain and the effort and seeing the beautiful outcome that dancers have. And all your dancers have a unique individual story.
Yes.
So if you can get out there and tell that, and even going through and just being like, hey, this week we're going to this person's village. We're going to learn about their culture of dance. We're going to get permission to use aspects of it if this is what happens. Making up a random story over here. And then just going through and just sharing, you know, the legitimacy of it. And you don't necessarily have to document it. Like John and I will go in and film stuff. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can take photos and do a one-on-one interview in the dance and say, hey, this is what we did. How was that for you when you went home? How did you feel about that? You know, just ask some personal questions and, you know, just see how it connected with them in an emotional way, and people online will go, oh wow, that is so cool. You'll
Yes,
always have
they'll see the human side of that
Yes.
creative process.
well, because you need to make it human, and then you need to give people understanding, because a lack of that, you'll get more criticism.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you'll always have criticism.
regardless.
Doesn't matter. Like, I could take a photo of myself and like say one thing, and probably out there on the internet someone would be like, oh, I hate her hair today, or like even myself, Tui's about to put out, or maybe there is a video up, and all I could say is, my face is so swollen, and I'm just waiting online to see the comment that's like, why are your eyes so swollen? But there's always gonna be
There's always some
something,
douche.
and I'm like, dude, my eyes were like so puffy in that video. It is true, but you know, that was just the morning. I woke up, I have bad allergies, and that's my reality.
life.
Yeah, my face is swollen, and Fiji doesn't like me. But with your dancers, same thing. They'll just go out there, tell their story. A lot of people embrace it, and there'll be a few people that suck and say nasty things, and
Yeah.
you know, and you can prepare your dancers for that, but they will go further, and your dance company will get more clients that love you and trust you and appreciate the effort, I think. And it may also open up different avenues of dance that you haven't thought about.
Yes, possibly. Yeah. Hope so.
Unless you've crushed every avenue. We're
Oh
not
my
sure.
gosh, no, we're still a baby, like really, and the vision of where we want to go. I think we're still in the baby steps. Yeah,
Okay. Do you have an ultimate vision for the company?
yeah. Well, we have the Vou Hub in Nandi, which is like our home of the arts, where we do our showcase, our Fiji Untold Story, which is a beautiful show. If you ever come to Nandi, come and have a watch. It's beautiful contemporary dance storytelling of Fijian myths and legends. And we really want to develop this space as a training space, and like lots of different kinds of performance venues, you know,
Okay.
for like poetry and like, visual arts,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, so a real home for the arts, as well as like the touring work, like
Okay.
to take that regionally around the Pacific and have multiple touring works at the same time, so that young Fijians can grow up and be like, yes, I can be an international performer.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you look at the rugby deans, the high school rugby, it's like the amount of fit Fijians, and how much percentage of those boys are going to get professional contracts in a rugby? Maybe like 10%. Like
not many.
the rest of them can be on the stage in Europe in a circus. Come and I will train you.
And
Like,
I'm sure a lot of those
You know?
boys can do a backflip
they
already.
can probably, yeah, exactly. You probably take them like half an hour to learn it. So
That's
you
right.
know what I mean? Like there's so much potential here, and then Fijian people by nature are so beautifully expressive.
Yeah.
And like I just think, yeah. it's a
Okay,
big
so
future.
my last question for you of the night is, you say that you are a retired dancer. What took you into retirement?
Babies. It was too hard.
It's
My
too
body was like, stop it.
Okay, I see. But you are still involved in the day-to-day running and training and things in the entire school and such?
Yes. So we have like our artistic director, Navi, who's just a brilliant creative mind. And sort of I do sort of like visioning, strategic planning sort of stuff. And my husband, I'm like, how about we do this idea? And Eddie's the one who actually makes it all happen. He's like,
Perfect.
you know what that entails? I have to run around and do this. But Eddie's like very good, like on the ground implementing, and I do a lot of like the organizing, but I still really miss like being in the studio. The most
Yeah.
fun part is in the studio. It's not actually on the stage. And if you
I'm
don't,
sure.
if as a performer you think it's about being famous, it's not. You have to fall in love with the studio, because you're going to spend 95% of your time
Yeah.
in there sweating and falling over and trying again. And so that's like the part that I really love.
Okay, so everybody will want to know, if you're a mom, you're working a lot. How do you balance that work life, mom?
Man, it's really hard. I'm really lucky. I just drag my kids around everywhere with me.
Yes,
I
good.
just
Me too. I love
They're
it.
in the back playing with your kids right now. Like,
Yeah, they are.
So yeah, they become really flexible. They like travel around with us wherever we go. They're used to being backstage at the shows. They just like on the road kind of kids.
Yeah.
And so I've sort of just amalgamated them into my life, and they feel like they're okay.
Yeah.
Like they will see in another 10 years.
These kids seem great. I didn't see
Yeah.
much of them. They were out with my kids chasing cows, so
Yeah.
we're not
They
quite
were having
sure,
so
but they
much
seemed
fun.
like to have a good time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But it is tricky. It's very hard as a mom. But
what is your one word of advice for women in Fiji that are working and have children and feel mom guilt? What's the one thing, I'm sure you've struggled with mom guilt. What's the one thing that if you struggle with that, that makes you feel okay about working?
Man, you know, I've started to feel mum guilt when they were babies, and it was such an awful feeling. I made a conscious decision. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to have mum guilt. I'm just going to give up that feeling. I don't
Good.
know. And then it just sort of left me. I just decided I'm going to do my best as a
Yeah.
mom, and I'm going to do my best in my job, and that's it. For a lot of Fijian women, I know that there's a lot of obligation.
Yeah.
Like there's obligation to your parents, there's obligation to church, there's obligation to your kids, and then there's obligation to, they have a lot of pressure coming from different things.
Definitely.
And usually I see a lot of women putting what they want last.
Okay.
You know, they will try and appease like all of these different things. But so the one piece of advice I would say to you is also consider what's best for you. What is your heart telling you what you need as well? And make sure you take that into consideration and not all of these other outside influences as well.
That's great. I would agree with that. I think that is very wise. So take that into account, guys. So we're going to wrap up today. Thank you for joining. This is the Waka Family Podcast. If you are in Vanalevu, we have the Vou Circus that we're going to be going to. It's great. They're traveling around right now. What is your next stop after this? Is there one?
So we go Lambasa, Latoka, Tavua, Ba, and last stop is in Nosori. So if you missed it in Suva, you can go to Nosori.
Hit it up, guys. We don't know when they're doing this again. It's going to be awesome, and we're really looking forward to it. Have a good night. Bye.